At midnight, the young soldier getting into the taxi thought the driver was just an ordinary man, quiet, old, didn't talk much, until he noticed the old bullet scars on the driver's arm. That's when he realized this man wasn't just driving a taxi, he was running from something. Welcome to Human Stories. Before we begin this powerful tale, tell me in the comments what city you're watching from today. And if you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit that subscribe button and help us keep these voices alive. Phoenix streets change after 11:30 p.m. The daytime calm gives way to the night, and the city breathes differently. And one of the busiest people during these hours was taxi driver Sam Torres. Sam was 62 years old, dark-skinned, silver-white hair, with deep lines etched across his face. He'd been driving the night shift for 15 years, always the same yellow Crown Victoria, always the same routes. From the airport to downtown, from bars to homes, from hospitals to motels, the same cycle every night. His passengers found him quiet. He didn't talk much, didn't ask questions. He played classic rock on the radio, low volume. He only spoke when necessary. "Where are we going?" or 1650, that was it. Some found this rude, but most were grateful, because people who take taxis at night usually don't want to talk. They want to be alone with their troubles, and Sam understood that. But tonight would be different. Tonight, his past would catch up with him. At 1:15 a.m., a young soldier emerged from the gates of Phoenix Military Base. He wore ACU camouflage, a backpack on his shoulder, and deep tension etched on his tired face. Danny Martinez, 24 years old, was a Marine who had just returned from Iraq. Danny saw Sam's taxi on the street and raised his hand. Sam stopped. "Phoenix downtown," Danny said, settling into the back seat. "Greyhound bus station." "Got it," Sam said without turning around. He started the meter and pulled away. The first 10 minutes were silent. Danny looked out the window. Sam drove. Eric Clapton's Tears in Heaven played on the radio. Very slow. Very melancholy. Danny was exhausted. He'd spent 15 months in Iraq and had only returned yesterday. Now he was going to California to see his family, but his mind was confused. What he'd seen, what he'd experienced, still spun in his head. He glanced at Sam. The old man never lifted his eyes from the rearview mirror. His hands were steady on the wheel, his posture straight. There was something about this man, something familiar. "You coming back from Iraq?" Sam asked suddenly. Danny was surprised. The driver was speaking for the first time. "Yes, yesterday morning." "What sector?" "Fallujah." How did you know?" Sam smiled for the first time. "Your posture, your walk, your eyes keep checking the rear window, and your shoulders tense, like you're still on alert." Danny looked more carefully now. How did this ordinary taxi driver know such things? "Were you a soldier too?" "Used to be." "When?" Sam went quiet. He didn't speak for a while. Then, very slowly, "Vietnam, 1968 to 1971. Danny's heart raced. A Vietnam veteran. His grandfather had also fought in Vietnam, but he never talked about that war. "What unit were you in?" "1st Cavalry Division, Air Mobile." This answer surprised Danny. The 1st Cavalry was an elite unit, the toughest of the aviation units. "So why are you driving a taxi?" Sam let out a short laugh, but it was a pained laugh. "Long story." That's when Danny noticed. As Sam moved his arm over the steering wheel, he saw marks that looked like they'd emerged from tears in an old uniform. Round, whitish marks, bullet scars. Danny held his breath. He recognized these marks. He had similar marks on his own body. Were you wounded there?" Sam gripped the steering wheel a little tighter. "Everyone got wounded there." "How badly were you wounded?" Sam hesitated. Then he raised his right arm, rolling up his shirt sleeve slightly. Danny couldn't believe what he saw. There were at least 5 bullet scar marks on the arm. Old, faded, but distinct. And that wasn't all. There was a deep cut mark on his wrist, a long line extending to his shoulder. "Jesus Christ," Danny whispered. "Language," Sam said calmly. "No swearing in the car." Danny apologized, but he was still in shock. How did these happen?" Sam went quiet. For a long time, he didn't speak. The taxi continued through Phoenix's empty streets, only the engine sound and radio audible. Finally, Sam spoke. "What did you see in Iraq?" Danny thought. "A lot of things. IED explosions, sniper attacks. Our buddies got wounded. Some didn't come back." "How many did you lose?" 3 from my squad." Sam nodded. "I lost my entire team." This sentence hung in the air. Danny couldn't say anything. Tet Offensive, 1968, Khe Sanh Base. We were in a 12-man Huey helicopter. We went down. Only I came out. Danny's mouth fell open. 11 of my buddies died. I should have died too, but somehow I survived. My arm was shattered. My leg was broken. I had shrapnel in my head. I stayed in the jungle for 3 days. I drank my own blood. Danny started trembling. This man wasn't just an ordinary taxi driver. This man was a war legend. So how did you get rescued?" Delta Force found me, but by then it was too late. Too much had changed. Memories came alive in Sam's mind. It was like he was reliving that terrible day again. Khe Sanh Base, January 1968, the beginning of the Tet Offensive. Sam was 22 then, Specialist Samuel Torres. He was one of the most experienced helicopter crew members of the 1st Cavalry Division. That morning was supposed to be a routine reconnaissance mission. The 12-man team would take a Huey UH-1D helicopter to the northern border to observe Viet Cong movements. It was a simple mission. They called it a milk run, as easy as delivering milk. But nothing was easy that day. The helicopter had been in the air for 20 minutes when all hell broke loose. RPG rockets, AK-47 bullets, machine gun fire. The enemy was prepared. They had set a trap. The pilot, Lieutenant Richards, was doing everything he could, but the helicopter's tail rotor had been hit. They were losing balance. "Mayday! Mayday!" The radio operator was shouting. "Khe Sanh 6-4, low altitude, emergency landing." Sam was firing with an M60 machine gun from the back door. They were completely surrounded by Viet Cong, but somehow he had to keep firing. When the helicopter crashed, the world collapsed on his head. Sam had lost consciousness. When he woke up, there was fire everywhere. The helicopter was burning. The crew was scattered. Most were dead. His right arm was crushed. Blood was flowing from his head, but he was alive. He looked around. Pilot Richards was dead. Mechanic Johnson was dead. Radio operator Martinez, same last name as Danny, was dead. They were all dead. Only he was alive, and the area was full of Viet Cong. Sam hid in the jungle for 3 days, wounded, thirsty, hopeless. He licked his own blood. He ate insects. He had a fever so high, he was delirious. On the 3rd day, a Delta Force team found him, but by then Sam was a different person. The sole witness, sole survivor, sole bearer of the deaths of 11 buddies. After that day, Sam said, nothing was ever the same. Danny listened silently. He was thinking about his own Iraq experience. He had lost 3 buddies. Sam had lost 11. "What happened after you got home?" "I stayed in the hospital for 8 months. Physical therapy, mental health treatment, but there's no treatment for mental wounds." "Did you go back to your family?" Sam gave a pained smile. "What family? My girlfriend had married someone else. My family didn't recognize me. The war had changed me." Danny nodded. He was experiencing the same fears. "I couldn't find work," Sam continued. "Nobody would hire Vietnam veterans. They called us baby killers. We were protested against. So how did you start driving taxis?" 15 years ago. I'd come to Arizona. Couldn't stand the cold weather anymore. A taxi company here hired old veterans. They gave me the night shift. "Why nights?" "Because I can't sleep at night. I have nightmares. I still hear that helicopter." Danny had gone quiet. He understood the pain this man was going through. So how are you now?" "I'm alive. That's enough." The taxi was approaching the Greyhound bus station. The journey was ending, but Danny didn't want to get out. He wanted to learn more from this man. "Sam," he said, "you're my hero." Sam gripped the steering wheel tightly. There were tears in his eyes. "I'm not a hero. I'm just one of the survivors." "No," Danny said firmly. "You are a hero. You're keeping the memory of 11 buddies alive. You're living for them." Sam stopped the meter. $16.50. Danny pulled out a 20. "Keep the change." "Thank you." As Danny got out of the car, he turned around. "Sam?" "Yeah? Thank you for talking to me tonight. Now I'm less afraid about going home." Sam smiled. A real smile this time. "Don't be afraid, son. You're a hero. You just haven't realized it yet." When Danny returned from California, the first thing he did was call Sam. He got his number from the taxi company. "Sam, it's Danny, the one you took to the bus station last week." "I remember. How are you?" "I'm good. I talked to my family. You were right. They understand me." "I'm glad." "Sam, I want to talk to you about something. I have a friend who works at Veterans Affairs. He can help you. Treatment, support, maybe a better job." Sam went quiet. "Sam, you there?" "I'm here, but I'm fine." "No, you're not fine. None of us are fine. But that's normal. And getting help is normal." A long silence. "Let me think about it once more," Sam finally said. Sam wasn't driving night taxis anymore. Thanks to the VA, Veterans Affairs, he'd switched to day work. He was getting therapy. He was taking his medications regularly. And most importantly, he wasn't alone anymore. Danny visited him every week. They both talked about Iraq and Vietnam. The more they shared, the lighter they felt. Sam had joined a veteran support group in Arizona. There were Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan veterans there. Everyone shared their own story. For the first time in 40 years, Sam had told his story. He had said the names of his 11 buddies. He had told how they died, and he had cried. The group had applauded him because he had finally told the truth, shared the burden. Danny got married a year later. One of the most important guests at his wedding was Sam. Sam sat with Danny's father, sharing old war stories. During the dancing, Danny approached Sam. "Sam, I'm lucky I met you that night." "I'm lucky too. Meeting people like you. How are you now? Sam looked around. The wedding celebration. People's smiles. Life continuing. Now I'm living, he said. Not just surviving, living. That night, as Sam drove home, he wasn't driving the old Crown Victoria anymore. He had a small Honda Civic. He went to work during the day, to therapy group in the evenings, and met with Danny on weekends. And he didn't have nightmares anymore at night, because he wasn't alone anymore, because he had shared his story, because he was one of the survivors, and he wasn't ashamed of that. Phoenix streets still had those old Crown Victorias circling. There were still drivers working the night shift, and maybe they had their stories too. But now Sam knew that every story deserved to be shared, and every surviving person had the right to keep living. Did this story touch you? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe stories like this should continue to be told, subscribe and support our channel, because at Human Stories, we'll keep bringing you the forgotten acts of heroism and unshared pain that deserve to be remembered. Until the next story, if you see someone living quietly around you, remember that they might have a past like this too, and sometimes just listening can be a great kindness.